Avengers Doomsday. Rumors tease big changes to Marvel Comics story. Well, all right. If you say so, I don't know. Well, the new rumors about Avengers Doomsday are making the rounds online, and they suggest Marvel Studios could be pulling heavily from Jonathan Hickman's famous Avengers and Secret Wars comic storyline. Yeah. Even before this Doctor Doom and all that stuff, that was elements of the Kang thing. So when they get to using Doctor Doom instead of Kang, that gets even more so back to the Hickman, because it was Doctor Doom who became. Now, maybe that was part of the plot and they were going to introduce Doctor Doom because they were going forward with the Fantastic Four movie and all that. So maybe whether it was, the plan to have Robert Downey Jr. play the role, probably not. That's probably the new thing. But that would have meant that Doctor Doom would have been weaved in and out here, I would think. I've always wondered if it was true that there were plans for Doctor Doom to make a cameo in the Wakanda Forever movie, and they scrapped that. Now, that's the way these things go. They're constantly changing here, this, that, and the other, up almost to the last minute, with reshoots and whatnot. So who the hell knows? That's the thing about rumors and whatnot and leaks about Marvel. A lot of them have come true. Certainly the movies they did last year, a lot of that came true. And the things that didn't, it could have been a plot point they were pursuing and then scrapped it. They may have even shot it and then they reshot it. So that's why there's some amount of confusion there. Now some things are just, Mike Zero level of insanity, tossed around type stuff like that. But of late, with Marvel, it's like a lot of it, turns out. So it's one of those things, it gets passed around and it might change on the way, but other times it's like every movie ever made, there's concept art and stuff. Yeah, originally we were going to do this, that kind of thing. And somebody hears about that. And then when you get to the movie, well, that's not in there. Well, at one time it was going to be. Yeah. But that's the thing about rumors. They can be true. They can be absolutely false. Sometimes they're somewhere in between. So anyway, the info comes from Cryptic HD on X, who responded to a fan question about how closely the upcoming movie will follow Hickman's run. According to Cryptic, the movie will borrow key elements from the storyline, but change certain aspects so it works better for the MCU. Well, you absolutely have to do that. And one of the big weaknesses here is, as far as the context of MCU, who the hell's Doctor Doom? I mean, I know who he is. We all know who he's being played by now. But, I know who he is because, I know Marvel Comics and all that stuff. But he has not been introduced in the MCU. You got a brief cameo of him in the Fantastic Four movie that just came out. Well, last year. It's pretty close. So, this is your new Thanos, They didn't, because they were going to do this storyline of multiverse collapsing and all that with Kang. Now, that really would have been even more of a rewriting of Secret Wars, but I don't know. Now, there's another interesting thing here, too, concerning Loki. So, as the article says, warning, possible spoilers. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Loki may replace the Beyonders, not the Beyonder from the original Secret Wars, which is a much better story. But unfortunately, they're not doing that. So anyway, Cryptic claims Loki will essentially replace the Beyonders in the story. In Hickman's comics, the Beyonders are powerful cosmic beings responsible for destroying universes during the incursion events that led to Secret Wars. In the rumored movie version, Loki could take on a similar narrative role, driving the larger multiversal conflict. The rumor also claims Marvel will introduce a character inspired by Black Swan. In the comics, Black Swan serves doom and warns of incoming incursions that cause universes to collide and destroy each other. The rumor also suggests Avengers Doomsday pulls more from Hickman's New Avengers and Secret Wars stories rather than the Time Runs Out storyline. Time Runs Out is the late-stage arc of Hickman's Avengers saga, where the Illuminati struggle to stop the collapse of the multiverse. However, cryptic notes that the MCU may have already referenced that storyline through the Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness post-credit scene. Because of that, Time Runs Out might not be fully explored in Avengers Doomsday unless it gets expanded during reshoots. Well, there's guaranteed to be reshoots. That's just how Marvel rolls. But as far as not weaving it in, the end credit scene was Clea showed up about Doctor Strange violating the cosmic rules and whatnot. Yeah. Well, the multiverse business was supposed to be the threads that connects the lead up to the two Avengers movies. But it didn't work out for a variety of reasons. And now here we are with this, which after a long series of lackluster and really bad movies, you're depending on this to wrap it all up. But as far as a complete and full narrative, it's virtually impossible to achieve at this point. So another interesting rumor involves Dr. Doom himself. Cryptic claims Doom's identity may remain hidden during Avengers Doomsday, as he secretly carries out his plans behind the scenes. The rumor says Doom's followers will also appear in the film without any clear explanation. Their identities will reportedly be kept hidden to preserve a later reveal. This approach mirrors a moment from the Hickman comics when Doctor Strange discovers that Doom is secretly operating under the identity of Rabum Alal. If accurate, the film may introduce Doom's larger plan and his mysterious followers before fully revealing who he is and what he's trying to accomplish. Yeah, he probably won't take the mask off until the very end, and it's like Steve Rogers like, Tony? You know, which won't be that much of a shock because they've already revealed Robert Downey Jr. is playing the role, you know. Of course, with multiverse, there could be multiple Dooms in here as well. Yeah. So anyway, Marvel Studios is building toward Avengers Doomsday as one of the next major crossover events in the MCU. Well, yeah, that's what it is. Oh, look, Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans are going to be at the Oscars. Well, that's nice. So, all right. So that's possibly certain elements are true to this. Certainly Loki, the way the second season ended, where I said he's practically the god of time, where he's literally holding on to the timelines and everything. So, that kind of puts him in the position of the Beyonder. The Beyonder was basically God, in the original series. The Beyonders, hey, we can't think of another name for some entities that caused this, but it was a very different position and all that. And ultimately, Doctor Doom collapses what's left of the multiverse into one world and then rules it as the god of that world. And it's battle world because the different sections of the world are fighting each other and stuff like that. But anyway, so something akin to that will happen here. And I suppose it'll be a collection, some of these past movies like X-Men and Spider-Man. As far as the rumors of the opening that Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man dies in a fight between him and Wolverine. Yeah, that's probably true, and if it turns out not to be, it might mean that no, they shot it, but they change their mind. You know, I mean, it could be something like that. But that's the idea. They start fighting, and they don't really understand what's going on. They just know that the other universes are threats to their world. So they're fighting to defend their individual worlds. Same with the X-Men and so on. And and Doom's manipulating everything. But the plot of it is they think Doom is actually trying to salvage everything. But he pulls a bait and switch, and he's fast and loose and all that sort of stuff. So it ends on this terrible cliffhanger, similar to like Infinity War, where the heroes lost, and it was terrible, and everyone's dying and all this stuff. And then you go into Endgame. So, same thing. This time, Doomsday, oh no, it's all terrible at the end. And then you go into Secret Wars. So, there you go. Now, as far as the rumors that Secret Wars might get split into Secret Wars 1 and Secret Wars 2, because it's just so much stuff you got to cram in there because you didn't really lay the groundwork in the other movies. Yeah, maybe that's true too. I don't know. But anyway, it doesn't look great for the old X-Men here. It looks like Cyclops is pretty upset. Yeah. But wait! Maybe these rumors are fake. Well, let's take a look. Say, poor Cyclops, he got fooled again. He thought they were true. And so YouTuber John Campea, who went off on this thing about James Gunn quitting DCU. And I mean, look, everyone's been guessing that while the whole WBD bidding war was going on. And the performance of his DCU. It's not great. So the odds are that, they'll let him decide to move on to save face. Sure. But the whole thing was just Campea, losing his mind once again because his politics blinds his objectivity as far as his version of events. But, well, maybe here he actually heard something, whereas that he didn't hear anything, which he said. He said, nobody told me anything, but my guess is, So anyway, he's pushing back against recent rumors about the opening scene of Avengers Doomsday, and I'm assuming that means Tobey Maguire dying, the X-Men, battling it out to the bitter end, and probably most of them get wiped out, with the exception of Wolverine and Deadpool, that kind of thing. But anyway, saying that a lot of the information currently circulating online is simply wrong. During a discussion on his show last week on YouTube, Campea addressed the growing number of leaks and scoops about the upcoming Marvel movie and hinted that fans shouldn't believe everything they're hearing. Not even from him. Campea made it clear that he believes much of the chatter about the film's opening scene is inaccurate. By the way, all I'm going to say about it is right now, as somebody who knows what happens, so he's saying someone from inside has told him what the plot of the movie is. I mean, as it stands now. I mean, I know it comes out this Christmas, but don't put it past Marvel to reshoot the whole damn thing. But anyway, there's a lot of misinformation out there about what happens at the beginning of the movie. So just the beginning, huh? Because, I mean, there's leaks out there about the whole plot. But anyway, he continued by stressing that he won't reveal details himself, but insists the leaks floating around are off the mark. All I'm going to say is that there is some significant wrong information out there about what happens in the movie. I won't talk about which one specifically. I'm just saying there are some very, very incorrect information about the beginning of the movie out there. Campea did not elaborate further or confirm which rumors are wrong. So, ultimately useless, other than he said, hey, some of this stuff isn't right, so some of it is, logically. So Campea's comments, speculation surrounding Avengers Doomsday continues to ramp up across social media. It's all part of the promotion, You got to at this point, because I don't know that there's enough excitement left for Marvel. The brand has suffered severe damage. So even just having Robert Downey Jr. come back and Chris Evans, I don't know. But anyway, various scoopers and insiders have been sharing alleged plot details, including claims about the opening sequence and how the film begins. However, Campia's statement raises the possibility that some of those leaks might not be legitimate. So what, the business of Loki? That's a hard one to follow because considering how the Loki series ended, he has to be involved in this. So that business about him going to Steve Rogers, odds are that probably is true. Now, the business of Dr. Doom kills him, maybe that's not true. But then again, maybe it is. But another thing is, how the hell does he do it? Because he's pretty powerful at this point. But anyway, however, Campia's statement raises the possibility that some of the leaks might not be legitimate. It's also possible Marvel Studios or the Russos could be intentionally putting misleading information into circulation to protect major surprises. Something we've speculated previously. Joe and Anthony Russo are directing Avengers Doomsday, and the pair are known for guarding Marvel's secrets closely. The Russos previously used heavy secrecy during Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, with fake scripts and misleading details reportedly used to prevent spoilers from leaking. Because of that history, some fans have speculated that certain leaks about Avengers Doomsday might be deliberate misinformation. If that's the case, the real opening scene in the movie could remain under wraps until the film actually hits theaters. Yeah, that's usually how that goes. But most Marvel Studios is positioning, Doomsday is their biggest movie, yada, yada, yada. Oh, it's going to be amazing. Well, narratively speaking, and based on what setup that they do have, a good bit of this kind of fits. So... we know the Fantastic Four at the end of the Thunderbolts. They've entered the MCU. So but it doesn't tell you that Steve Rogers is on the rocket with them. Of course, if he is, then this whole thing, and we've already seen in the teasers, there's Steve Rogers, and he's got a baby, and he's living his life with Peggy, and all that sort of stuff. And where's his kid now? Oh, does the kid become the new Captain America? He's Steve Rogers Jr. So say Captain America's still Steve Rogers, because he's an adult now. I don't know. But anyway, the same thing holds. Could be true, could be untrue, probably somewhere in between. And then with Marvel's addiction to reshoots, kind of making it up as they go along and all that. Odds are it'll be drastically different by the time it opens later this year. And that's just kind of been standard for them. And they're in a terrible, terrible position. So this is a Hail Mary pass. But a Hail Mary pass, those do work when they're successful and all that. I mean, it's got to work when there's potential that the touchdown will get you ahead. If you're behind several points, it'll give you a bump, but and it's only 4 minutes on the clock, I don't know. So there we go. So there's that's just Campia weighing in, but the point is made, and at least in this one, he's saying somebody from the inside talked to him and said, this is how it really goes. So it's already spoiled for him. And one would just have to conclude the overall plot would mostly remain the same, just in spite of what little changes or maybe big changes that they make for it. Like, do they kill off Loki in the first movie? Again, I don't know. But anyway, there we are. And I guess, how do we settle all this? Well, you'll have to go and watch the movie when it comes out. I know, but that's how that works. Spider-Man Brand New Day rumors double down that Sadie Sink is Jean Grey. Yeah. Yes, she is. I know they haven't actually come out and said it, but you know, that teaser they did, the dialogue in it from her and whatnot, it kind of lines up with what the rumors were saying about what the plot is. You know, she's a mutant that's being hunted down. She's got the... This is a Nailsin News Bulletin. Man terrorized neighbors with a knife, stun baton, and bow and arrow. Wow. Weird. Well, Dustin Rotbart, 40, is in custody at the Multnomah County Detention Center, where he's being held without bail after authorities said he repeatedly threatened his neighbors. Well, according to court documents, Rotbart was arrested on February 23rd after police received a call from a business in Portland about a man banging on windows and causing a disturbance. But it was not the first time people complained about Rotbart's alleged behavior. Less than 20 days earlier, on February 14th, Rotbart allegedly pulled a knife at the same business and threatened the patrons, asking them, "Do you want to get stabbed? Do you want to die today?" According to court documents, police said a bystander who witnessed the February 14th incident told officers that he attempted to disarm Rotbart, who not only had a knife, also a stun baton. Surveillance video reportedly captured Rotbart being pushed or shoved by the bystander. Rotbart then allegedly pursued the bystander, who ran back to his apartment with the knife and stun baton. The confrontation apparently ended when Rotbart's demeanor changed and the two men high-fived each other. Were they in on this? The doorman at the apartment where the bystander lived corroborated the bystander's version of events to police. I don't know, I guess Rotbart said, "Hey, high five," and the guy nervously agreed to do it because he didn't know what else to do with this nut. I suppose that's the other possibility here. Anyway, on February 15th, police said residents in another neighborhood reported a man who they said was aiming a bow and arrow at various homes and people. Well, homes tend to have people in them, you know. Police later identified that man as Rotbart. Police wrote that Rotbart engaged in similar behavior a week prior, but he was not taken into custody because, well, he was at his own property. Minutes after the deputy who responded to the bow and arrow call dispatchers received another call about a woman who said her neighbor, Rotbart, tried to hit her with his car. Surveillance video from the area allegedly caught Rotbart's vehicle accelerating toward a group of people. Police wrote in the charging documents that Rotbart's erratic and allegedly violent behavior was seemingly driven by psychedelic mushrooms and his wife filing for divorce. Well, the two go together sometimes. According to police, Rotbart's wife kicked him out of their house, and he responded by breaking down the door and throwing a book at her. Well, he's probably going to get the book thrown at him now, huh? An AR-15 rifle was reportedly found in his vehicle at the time. On January 19th, police responded to a call about shots fired allegedly by Rotbart. When police arrived, Rotbart, reportedly high on mushrooms, took his clothes off. Well, of course, you knew this was coming. Police apparently found mushrooms in the car, and a search of his garage yielded an AR-15 rifle and a revolver. The next day, a judge prohibited Rod Bart from possessing deadly weapons, writing in a ruling that there was clear and convincing evidence that Rod Bart presents the risk of suicide and or causing physical injury to another person, that's the more important part, in the immediate or near future. Well, yeah. Coin, or KOIN, reported that a letter from 7 of Rod Bart's neighbors expressed serious concerns about neighborhood safety due to his alleged behavior. The letter read, "Over the past several months, our community has collectively witnessed and experienced a sustained pattern of threatening and intimidating behavior, including, but not limited to, rapidly discharging approximately 20 rounds from a firearm from his house, verbally assaulting a neighbor, and recurring loud parties at early morning hours." The neighbors wrote that Rod Bart's alleged behavior caused them to change their everyday routines and keep their children inside. Rod Bart was booked into the Multnomah County Detention Center on February 23rd on 3 counts of unlawful use of weapon, 3 counts of menacing, 2 counts of burglary, and 1 count of disorderly conduct. He was ordered during a court hearing to be held without bail. Yeah, he probably should be. Rod Bart. There's like this blurry picture that I guess is him with the knife. Is he wearing a dress? I don't know. It's weird. It's this blurry, almost ghostly looking figure charging after somebody, I guess. Well, with a name like Rod Bart, it was probably inevitable, If only he had been Fresh Bart, then he'd be a saint, But alas, 'twas not to be, I suppose. Newly unsealed documents reveal teen found in Singh DeFordid's Tesla was dismembered. Boy, this story is just going on and on and on. And I mean, it's pretty obvious. This guy had something going on with this teen girl and ended up killing her. Come on. And then just left her in his Tesla. And gee, I hope no one notices. Well, anyway, here's the latest. A grand jury probe is targeting alt-pop singer DeFordid in connection with the body of a missing 7th grader who was found decomposing in his impounded car in 2025. Celeste Rivas Hernandez, then 13, only 13, was last seen at home in Lake Elsinore, California in April 2024, when her family reported her missing. Her remains were found on September 8th, 2025, inside a Tesla belonging to D. Ford. I guess his name's David, but he took out the A and put the number 4 and then just took away the letter I. So it's D number 4 VD. Whatever happened to just cool rap names like Ice Cube, Anyway, who was on tour at the time, Rivas Hernandez would have turned 15 the day before her body was discovered. So she was 13 when she did. Okay, the birthday probably came in. Anyway, the Los Angeles Police Department previously initiated a court order in November 2025, blocking the county coroner from releasing details about the teen's death. According to the Associated Press, the LAPD Captain Mike Bland said the order was put into place so that our investigators get the information before the media and the public. Yeah, okay. The AP reports DeFordid, whose legal name is David Burke. See? I knew his name was David, is the focus of the investigation in grand jury subpoenas issued on January 15th that reportedly seek to have 3 of Burke's relatives testify. According to a Texas judge, the family members cannot ignore the subpoenas and must go to California to testify. Yeah, it's his car, you know? Hey, how'd this happen? Ooh. Yeah. Burke's family members tried to block the enforcement of demands for testimony. Look, it's a murder trial. You're going to have to. But a judge rejected their efforts on February 10th, according to a transcript of a hearing obtained by NBC. According to the AP, the documents were sealed in California, but court documents filed in Texas, obtained by the outlet state, that being NBC, AP rather. Target may be involved in having committed the following criminal offenses against the laws of the state of California, to wit, 1 count of murder. The documents state it is estimated that Rivas Hernandez was 14 when she died. Police investigators searching the Tesla in a tow yard found her body inside a cadaver bag covered with insects and a strong odor of decay. When detectives unzipped the bag, they found a partially decomposed head and torso. The document goes on to state, upon removing the cadaver bag from the front storage compartment, it was discovered the arms and legs had been severed from the body. A second black bag was discovered underneath the cadaver bag. Upon opening the second bag, the dismembered body parts were discovered. So, Rivas Hernandez's cause of death has not been revealed. I suspect homicide. Foul play. Yeah. But as of yet, no charges have been filed against Burke, that being deported. Gee, is it all just a misunderstanding? Hey, someone borrowed my car and must have done this. Well, it seems like he would have said so by now. I didn't know what happened to my car, but then would he have filed for someone stole my car and that kind of thing? No, none of that. And then eventually, is there any way for anyone to say, yeah, he knew this girl? Yeah, you had this fan, this very young teenage girl, and she's all, excited to meet you and stuff because you're a big rap star. And then you took advantage of her, and then you're like, oh crap, I'm in trouble now. So either that or you gave her something and she OD'd and died on it. They still haven't revealed the cause of death, so could it have been a drug overdose? She's saturated with whatever, something along those lines, but it's looking like deforted. Well, it's very suspicious. So, innocent till proven guilty and all that stuff, but what a horrible story, Yeah. And he just left the car there. This will get rid of the problem. No, after a while, they noticed, Well, it'll be shocking if there's something that comes along and says, turns out he had nothing to do with it. At this point, oh well. It's ongoing, so I guess to be continued is the only way to close this story at the moment. Spider-Man Brand New Day rumors double down that Sadie Sink is Jean Grey. Yeah. Yes, she is. I mean, I know they haven't actually come out and said it, but you know, that teaser they did, the dialogue in it from her and whatnot, it kind of lines up with what the rumors were saying about what the plot is. You know, she's a mutant that's being hunted down. She's got the red hair. You know, are they going to say she's Storm now? No, they're not going to do that. And they're not going to make her the real Mary Jane or any of that. She's Jean Grey. This is a means by which they're introducing their new X-Men, which are going to be the focal point of the MCU following Secret Wars. So anyway, new updates surrounding Spider-Man Brand New Day is again pointing to Sadie Sink playing one of Marvel's most powerful mutants. Cryptic again. HD quality on X has doubled down on earlier claims that Sink is portraying Jean Grey in the upcoming Spider-Man film. Marvel Studios and Sony have not confirmed Sink's role. Well, look what she's wearing. It's just who she's playing. Yeah, that's AI fan art, yeah. Anyway, Cryptic's latest comments reiterate what was first said months ago. Not 48 hours. Well, yeah, okay. That Sink is indeed Jean Grey in Spider-Man Brand New Day. The rumor has circulated widely, not wildly, but maybe a little wildly, I don't know, across fan communities and industry rumor sites after Josh of Den of Nerds first posted the claim online, which sparked major reactions among Marvel fans. Sink joined the film in 2025 in a mystery role, and Marvel has remained tight-lipped about who she is playing. Rumors also offer Jean Grey is the reason that Mark Ruffalo's Banner returns as the Savage Hulk because of her mind powers, you know. It ruins his whole chill and zen and, you know, bro Hulk crap. Anyway, if the rumors prove true, it would mark the first major MCU introduction of Jean Grey ahead of Marvel's larger mutant and X-Men plans following Avengers Secret Wars in 2027. Spider-Man Brand New Day is directed by, you know, Daniel Cretton and Tom Holland's Spider-Man, in case you didn't know. So there you go. How about that, huh? It's, I don't know, is this really that big of a story? I think it's a done deal as far as that goes. So, oh, well, we know what the best series was. It was Batman. These others, I mean, Justice League's a pretty good, you know, follow-up to it. But that's the deal. And, not going to show. We know I'm right. I'm right. Yeah, and I'm going with Sadie's Jean Grey. You know, there you go. And you'll probably meet the other new mutants, not the new mutants, the title, but the new X-Men. One or two, maybe more, throughout Doomsday and Secret Wars, and then it's on to the new X-Men movie. And there you'll have your cast. How they'll do that and what stories they'll follow, I don't know. You got to wait and see, of course. But, yeah, that's, at least that's something of a plan that they have. Now, the movie's got to perform. Otherwise, it's like, why are we putting money in this? It's dead. Yeah, it could happen, too. But anyway, I mean, at this point, she's just some made-up character that really doesn't do a whole lot, and then you never see her again. Oh, boy. If they've done that... That would be stupid. Anyway, there you go. Jean Grey. This is a Nailsin News Bulletin. Wife who told husband to wear revolver for a night out because it went well with his outfit ends up dead on the floor while holding their baby. A 21-year-old man in Indiana is accused of killing his wife and seriously injuring the couple's newborn baby after he allegedly shot the 21-year-old woman and then claimed the wound was self-inflicted. Cameron E. Tomlinson was taken into custody and charged with 1 count of reckless homicide and 2 counts of criminal recklessness committed with a deadly weapon in the slaying of Jessica M. Tomlinson. According to the initial investigation report from the Kokomo Police Department, officers responded to a report of a shooting at an apartment complex in the 400 block of West Lincoln Road at about 7 p.m. on February 24th. The caller, identified as Tomlinson, told the dispatcher his wife had suffered a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Upon arriving, first responders found Jessica Tomlinson on the floor of the home with a wound to the upper torso. Cameron Tomlinson and the newborn were still at the home. The baby suffered a gunshot wound to the hand, resulting in significant trauma. Medics reached the scene and attempted life-saving measures. Jessica Tomlinson succumbed to her injury and was pronounced dead at the scene. The infant was transported to Community Howard Regional Health Hospital before being transported to Riley Children's Hospital in Indianapolis for more specialized treatment. Responding officers were initially informed that Jessica was handling a firearm and accidentally shot herself. Officers discovered Tomlinson's 1-month-old infant was being held by Jessica when the shooting occurred and suffered what appeared to be a gunshot wound to the infant's hand. After collecting evidence from the home and conducting interviews with Cameron Tomlinson as well as his neighbors and family, authorities placed him under arrest in connection with Jessica Tomlinson's death. Court documents provided additional details regarding the circumstances of Tomlinson's arrest. The documents state that Cameron Tomlinson told detectives he and his wife were getting ready for a night out when she insisted he take a revolver with him because she thought it went well with his outfit. He claimed she went to the safe and grabbed the gun while holding the baby. Cameron Tomlinson claimed that when she returned with the gun, the hammer of the gun was cocked, and she was holding the firearm by the barrel when she tried to open the cylinder with one hand and shot herself. However, when pressed about what happened, Cameron Tomlinson reportedly changed his story and said he didn't like how she was holding the gun by the barrel, so he reached out, grabbed the revolver, and tried to pull it from her. The gun, reportedly, went off, striking Jessica Tomlinson. Cameron Tomlinson said he was not sure if he pulled the trigger, but said he must have, adding, "To sum it up, that means I shot her." Well, he's currently being held in the Howard County Jail on $15,000 cash-only bond. A judge also ordered that Cameron Tomlinson have no contact with his baby. Yeah, I would think so, since he shot the child as well. So, was this just, a really terrible screw-up concerned with date night fashion? I doubt it. Probably Cameron suddenly decided he didn't want to be a husband and father, But anyway, there are your options. Crazy, silly accident? Or premeditated murder? Man who went berserk threatening customers at Walmart killed a woman a day later was lowered to moderate risk and then slaughtered 3 more. A Colorado man has amassed 4 murder charges during the span of 2 separate parole stints. As of last year, Ricky Lee Roybal Smith, 38, stood accused of 3 counts of murder in the first degree, according to police and prosecutors in Denver and the adjacent large city of Aurora. The Denver area killings occurred within hours of one another during a crime spree last summer. As of late last week, the defendant is facing a 4th charge of second-degree murder out of Arapahoe County, prosecutors announced. The 4th homicide charges dates back to during the early morning hours of June 29, 2025, Jesse Schaefer, 27, and Scott Davenport, 61, were stabbed to death in Aurora. The victims were attacked and left to die on Moline Street and Peoria Street, respectively. Both men were homeless at the time. Schaefer was killed at around 1:45 a.m. on the day in question, stabbed some 15 times, according to the Adams County Coroner's Office. Within the hour, Davenport was stabbed roughly 90 times in the back. Later that same day, Roy Ball Smith was arrested for a hit-and-run involving 2 pedestrians near the intersection of Galapagos, Street and West 9th Avenue in Denver. He was booked in jail around 11 p.m. By 2 a.m. the next morning, the defendant's cellmate, Vincent Chacon, 36, was found laying face down and dead in the cell. Initial assessment suggested the victim died while choking on an apple, according to an arrest affidavit. Those claims were sourced to Roy Ball Smith, who allegedly told a deputy Chacon was choking on an apple and needed help. In fact, the deceased man was found laying on top of an apple and with a bite taken out of it, and a piece of apple was removed from Chacon's throat during an autopsy. Later, however, it was determined Chacon, who was in jail awaiting release on a traffic violation, died as a result of asphyxia due to external compression of the neck, otherwise known as strangulation. You locked up a traffic violator with a murderer. Chacon's death prompted public outrage over jail policies. The victim's family questioned why the 2 men were ever detained together and why the victim was still being detained in the first place. We received a text from Denver County Saturday saying they had released him, Chacon's mother told Denver-based Fox affiliate KDVR. Monday morning, they said they didn't have him there. Then Tuesday morning, the coroner called to tell me he had passed. Oh, no. Jeez. Now, more official missteps are being alleged in the aftermath of Roy Ball Smith being charged with murder yet again. On June 22nd, Meg Eberhardt, whose age is unknown, was found unconscious at a light rail station in Inglewood, a small city on the far southern edge of the Denver metro area. She was taken to a hospital and died several days later. The victim was found after she left her rideshare vehicle to use the restroom around 3 a.m. that night, according to the Inglewood Herald. The woman's Lyft driver told police he heard her scream and that a man outside knocked her out, so he activated an emergency alert. The Inglewood Police Department looked to Roy Ball Smith as its primary suspect, alleging he ran from the scene of the crime. But Arapahoe, I think that's how Arapahoe County prosecutors demurred because Eberhardt's cause of death was long rolled undetermined. But the Uber or Lyft driver, rather, was a witness. On February 25th, prosecutors charged the defendant for Eberhardt's death. The cause of death determination does not appear to have changed, but prosecutors now believe the woman's death was a crime. The Inglewood Police Department has worked tirelessly for the past 3 years to seek answers and closure in this complex case, the department said in a statement released after the charges were filed. This outcome reflects the unwavering dedication of our entire detectives bureau, who committed countless hours to carefully building a thorough case. As it turned out, Roy Ball Smith was on parole at the time Eberhardt was killed. For years, the Colorado Department of Corrections ranked the on-again, off-again inmate as a very high risk toward recidivism. Then, in he was categorized as a moderate risk. How do you go? Okay. Though the defendant waited years to be charged in the Eberhardt case, he was quickly charged for another crime around the same time. He's really busy, you know. The day before the woman was attacked, Roy Ball Smith went berserk at a nearby Walmart supercenter in Inglewood. The outburst was so severe that he was charged with threatening customers at the big box store and received a 4-year prison sentence. Wow. But he never served all 4 years. No, the defendant was eligible for parole in 2025. His moderate risk designation still intact. He was subsequently granted parole in January last year, and then allegedly went on to kill 3 more people. Roy Ball Smith has been paroled 4 times since 2012. Huh. How does this happen? You know? They just, does somebody just feel sorry for him? You know, does he have the type of face that you go, aw, doesn't look much like it to me, but I guess someone did. I don't know. Now, don't you do that again. So now he's a moderate risk. You know? I mean, this is literally, the system becomes an accessory to murder here. You know, you're enabling this monster. He's a candidate for the death penalty. You know that, don't you? And he's a prime reason why you're just going to have to do that. Oh yeah, they're still trying to make Star Wars movies, and they're making 2. That's right, they're making 2. So of course, Mandalorian and his little buddy are going to be on the big screen. Mando's got a new toy to play with. So Empire Magazine has released multiple covers and a new image for the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, featuring a fresh look at Din Djarin and his little buddy as the duo heads to theaters. The Empire piece also includes new quotes from Dave Filoni and Pedro Pascal. Hey, he's sometimes in that suit. And he's the voice of the character. Anyway, they framed the film as a character-first Star Wars event, rather than a project carrying the weight of launching a new trilogy. Okay. I mean, he already had 3 seasons of a show. So, whatever. Anyway, look. Oh, remember that? Yeah, so there is he on Hoth? They're still occupying Hoth, maybe? No, it's probably some other ice planet. Odds are there's more than one. We know there's more than one desert planet. We did learn that, thanks to the sequel trilogy. How about that? You know, who knew? The new Empire images spotlight Din and Grogu in 2 different moods. The image leans into action with Mando in a snowy setting. The covers go behind the scenes. Din and Grogu's sitting in a director's chair as if they're part of the production. You know this is just set up for the photo, right? This isn't the actual set. It's... yeah. We never did... Who's the actor playing Grogu, you know? Wow, his chair just says Grogu. This is one of those actors that says, look, I'm never good with remembering character names, so you're just going to have to name my characters after my real name. And I'm like, okay. So that's how that works. Yep. Anyway, Filoni, who co-wrote The Mandalorian and Grogu and directed Second Unit on the film, compared today's Star Wars landscape to the pressure that came with Episode 7. Episode 7 was a completely different entity, explains Filoni. I had dreams of Episode 7 since I came out of Return of the Jedi. You were like, well, after 6 comes 7. Where's 7? We're in a completely different era of Star Wars now. You mean the afterlife? Filoni adds that the Mandalorian and Grogu doesn't have to introduce a new entire trilogy or a roster of unknown heroes, or even a story or a plot that makes sense. He don't need any of that. Instead, he calls the movie a big celebration of its title pair. Oh, look. Yeah. The season 3 finale felt like a real ending. Pretty much, yeah. With Din and Grogu settling into a homestead. They should have been a trailer house. You know, that'd have been funny. On Navarro, after taking down Moff Gideon and helping reclaim Mandalore. But Pedro Pascal says it's not the end of their story because, you know, he gets paid to do another one. So, of course, he's going to say that. It only felt like the ending of a particular chapter. Pascal tells Empire. The finale also set up Din taking missions for the New Republic at Aldelphi Base, which opens up a new version of his work. They open up the opportunity for him to continue his best work as a bounty hunter, but just working for the good guys, says Pascal, combining skill and morality, whereas when we meet him first, it's simply skill and Beskar and the Mandalorian Creed. This is the way. Through his relationship to Grogu, there is an expansion of his heart and a disarming of his armor, so to speak, that leads him to fight for what he knows is right. Well, there you go. Filoni also stresses the bigger set pieces only matter if the characters land. You don't say. What can't you do now, says Filoni, noting that spectacle only goes so far. It's a question of, is the audience going to believe it? Are they going to feel it? That comes through the characters. If the characters are connecting, then the adventure plays. The action plays. The tension plays. Well, anyway, there you go. Hey, look, it's almost here. So, yeah. I mean, the trailers and everything, it's mostly just more of the same. It's like the one where he's battling that, I don't know, giant snake in the water. That actually looks really cool because it's very reminiscent to a lot of sci-fi paintings and whatnot, not just about Star Wars, but a lot of those too, from the 70s and whatnot. It just looks like that it is come to life, you know. I wish more sci-fi movies would do that because the technology is really there to really make it look like those paintings come to life. Oh, well. But that's it. That's just the aesthetics. And if this is just repetition of what the show already delivered, then I don't know. You think the movie has a chance? Again, same thing with Marvel. Brand damage goes a long, long way. So, Mandalorian and Grogu could be a nice, fun little movie, you know? But if nobody shows up, that won't matter. Well, time will tell. Ewan McGregor, again rumored to return as Obi-Wan in Ahsoka Season 2. Well, sure, why not? Oh, wait, he's dead. So Force Ghosts, I guess? Or flashbacks to the Clone Wars. Yeah, makes sense. Anyway, new rumors again suggest that Ewan McGregor... Yeah, I already read that. The speculation comes from a series of posts spotted online by the Star Wars fan site Bespin Bulletin, which appear to belong to a stunt performer working on the series. One particular comment has caught the attention of fans as it seemingly references McGregor being on set. In a social media reply discussing favorite Star Wars movies, the stunt performer wrote, "When asked what my favorite Star Wars movie is, the one where I got to go have a go in an AT-AT was pretty great. But I also really enjoyed the Imperial Star Destroyers. Oh, and when Ewan let me hold Ahsoka's lightsaber. That was definitely a favorite Star Wars moment." Huh? The mention of Ewan immediately sparked speculation that the actor was present during production, possibly reprising his role as Obi-Wan Kenobi for Ahsoka Season number 2. If true, the appearance would likely be brief and possibly tied to a Force vision flashback or a moment involving the Force, as Obi-Wan died decades before the timeline of the Ahsoka series. Worth a mention is that McGregor's wife, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, stars in Ahsoka as Hera Syndulla. So McGregor could have been on set supporting his wife. Yeah, that's a good possibility. But, it's very easily could be some Force ghost of vision or another flashback type thing. Anyway, back in August, fans thought something similar. But McGregor revealed he was on set simply because his wife stars in the series. So, now that could be the cover story. But anyway, that said, an Obi-Wan appearance would also make sense from a story's perspective. Both Obi-Wan and Ahsoka share a deep connection through Anakin Skywalker. Season 1 of Ahsoka already brought back Hayden Christensen as Anakin in the mysterious World Between Worlds sequence, which allowed the show to revisit the Clone Wars era. Christensen has also been confirmed for Season number 2. Bringing Obi-Wan into the mix would continue the theme of exploring Anakin's past through the people closest to him. Well, there you go. That all but settles it, doesn't it? So anyway, Season number 2 is due to premiere later this year on DP. Well, considering how the first one went, God, what a disappointment. Tease. Lackluster this, lackluster that. All this, where's Ezra? We get to Ezra and it's just a joke. Man, they really... they did terrible disservice to that character. And then, of course, Obi-Wan himself. People are comparing it to Luke in The Last Jedi. And I get the comparisons. It's just Luke got way worse than that. Because at least Obi-Wan wasn't, a potential child killer. So... but still, and just the lore breaking and Leia and all that, it just, Anyway, there'll be another Ahsoka season. Hey, maybe they'll go back to the World Between Worlds and undo the sequel trilogy. Wouldn't that be great? See, it's time travel. You can do that now. No, they're not going to do that. Well, here's a little article from Screen Rant. It suggests that Star Wars' new Return of the Jedi sequel confirms Disney's Episode 7 mistake. What? Return of the Jedi sequel. Oh, Mandalorian and Grogu. Has secretly revealed one of the biggest mistakes Disney made with Episode 7. Most of the upcoming Star Wars movies, including The Mandalorian and Grogu, are set to move away from the sequel trilogy's timeline. Instead, The Mandalorian and Grogu will take place during the New Republic era, in the aftermath of Return of the Jedi. Well, the whole series took place in the aftermath of Return of the Jedi. That's set. You didn't know that? Though it takes place before Star Wars The Force Awakens, The Mandalorian and Grogu is actually set to change Episode 7 forever. Really? They're going to do some time travel and make sure it never happens? Oh man, now I'm excited for this movie. The sequel trilogy was famously divisive, putting it mildly, though lucrative, diminishing returns. And Star Wars has mostly avoided them in the years since Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. I wonder why. Why would they? I mean, they were lucrative. Why would you? Now, however, The Mandalorian and Grogu could fix one of the sequel trilogy's biggest mistakes. It's funny, I used to praise it all the time, and now it's okay to say, yeah, it wasn't all that great. The newest trailer for The Mandalorian and Grogu revealed a massive part of the movie's plot. In the trailer, Colonel Ward, Sigourney Weaver, tells Din Djarin that his mission is about preventing another war. Since The Mandalorian and Grogu will take place in about 12 years after the Battle of Yavin, and since Din is hunting down the Imperial remnants, it's clear that Ward and the New Republic are trying to prevent the Empire from restarting the Galactic Civil War. Yeah, that's no shocking reveal. In fact, again, elements of that was in the series. So, been there, done that. The trailer also revealed a bit about how Ward is going about preventing that war and what she needs Din for. Din mentioned that he would take out gangsters, war criminals, and other high-value targets for Ward's deck of cards. It seems to be the same strategy the United States used during the invasion of Iraq, where soldiers were given a deck of cards with information about the top members of Saddam Hussein's government to more easily identify them. Based on that strategy, Ward is using Din and potentially other bounty hunters like Embo to hunt down important members of the Hutt cartel and the Imperial remnant. The theory is likely that by destroying the leadership of the cartels and the Empire, the New Republic will be able to prevent the Empire from mounting another offensive. Clearly, The Mandalorian and Grogu is doing a deep dive into galactic politics. And what the hell are you doing here, Ren? Now that The Mandalorian and Grogu is diving so deep into galactic politics after Return of the Jedi, it has highlighted just how The Force Awakens did the same. Episode 7 completely disregarded the galactic politics of Star Wars. All it revealed was that the First Order rose from the ashes of the Empire and that the Republic had returned after the Empire's fall. From there, The Force Awakens is just the Empire versus Rebels again. With new Nick, yes, that's the problem with it, and no amount of backstory is really going to fix that. I mean, it's another way of saying, yeah, well, the rebels failed. They were losers because you can call it First Order, but it's still the Empire. What does that look like? Hey, they look like they're from the Empire. Yeah. What they really should have done was set up the villains as a terrorist organization. Instead, you have the Empire with far superior weaponry and manpower than the Republic has. 30 years later. Yeah. It's pretty stupid. But now trying to, hey, we'll lay some groundwork that the trilogy forgot to do to try to fix this. Try to paint around the edges. And it's like, hey, this is a great pot of soup. Unfortunately, there's a rat turd in the middle of it. Well, just spoon around it. No, you got to throw the whole thing out and start over, The Force Awakens basically pretended like nothing at all happened until Ben Solo's confrontation with Luke Skywalker at the Jedi Academy. The sequel trilogy had no interest in explaining what the New Republic was like, how the First Order actually came into being, or what happened to the Empire after the Galactic Civil War. Yeah. It's a little late to do that now, and it was First Order's a bad idea anyway. Anyway, even the supplementary materials for the sequel trilogy only do half the job of explaining the galaxy's politics. None of that stuff counts. What, video games and comic books? No. Bloodline examines the political makeup of the Galactic Senate and the First Order's emergence, but only in 28 after the Battle of 28 years after the Battle of Yavin. Comics like The Rise of Kylo Ren it's not canon. I mean, they do these all the time. They're never really referenced. So you're wasting your time. I mean, if it's good art and stuff and you enjoy the individual story, then, that's something. But so to the Star Wars sequel trilogy, it's like galactic history and politics took a 25-year break after the return. Yeah, well, it doesn't resolve the main problems of this whole sequel trilogy thing. Star Wars has provided a lot more context for the sequel trilogy in the years since The Force Awakens was released, but it was almost entirely through the Mandoverse. Yeah, because this is a terribly failed endeavor. So, Empire survived and laid the groundwork for the First Order's eventual return. Ahsoka took a look at the New Republic's inner workings and explained why it would eventually fall. The Mandoverse did a better job of setting the stage for the sequel trilogy than The Force Awakens ever did. Well, The Force Awakens failed to explain any of the context of the galaxy's politics. Yeah, it failed to explain a hell of a lot more than just that. So, Mandalorian and Grogu can't fix that. They can't polish the turd. The new context the Mandalorian Grogu is going to add to the New Republic era also retroactively make The Force Awakens a better movie. No, it doesn't. It just doesn't. So, any amount of backstory given to a terrible plot to begin with, there's no way that fixes that. So again, you're asking me to spoon around the turd in the soup. Well, I'm not gonna do it. And there's really no fixing what you did to this guy. No fixing at all. So it was a moment in time, almost an actual Beatles reunion, And you couldn't do it. So instead, Han Solo's a deadbeat dad. Luke Skywalker thought about being a child killer, How do you get there? But that's what they did. I know it's a really sad, terribly sad story, but I don't know. I got some time, so I thought I'd look at it. So there's going to be this Christmas special for Doctor Who, and then after that, I don't know. It could be years before there's anything, if anything, But anyway, here's a little interesting tidbit. Billy Piper reportedly not next Doctor. What are you talking about? We saw it happen. Search ongoing as role branded Poisoned Chalice. Oh, yeah. It's like how many actors like, no, thank you. A couple of years before I might have, but not now. So look, there's the regeneration. See? What happened? Despite Billy Piper's Doctor Who cameo last year, which was nothing more than a desperate stunt, she is reportedly out of the running to play the 16th Doctor. Well, that means they'll have to introduce a 17th Doctor. Well, actually, she's the second Doctor Jr., because Ncuti got was doctor is not the doctor. The real doctor is David Tennant. That would make him the 14th Doctor. And he's just sitting on Donna's couch watching TV because he's retired. While his clone, sort of clone son, I don't know, Dr. Jr. with his clone TARDIS goes on adventures and cries about it over and over again. So there you go. He's like the first Doctor of this new Doctor, Dr. Jr. And that makes Billy the second one. So they got to introduce a third Doctor here, you know. However, it is apparently proving difficult, with the lead role on Doctor Who described by one insider as a bit of a poisoned chalice, rather than the guaranteed prize it once was. The Sun states the actress and singer, who has appeared in the show before as sidekick Rose Tyler, will not be the new Doctor. It continues, and producers are trying to find a new TARDIS dweller fast, as they are committed to a Christmas special, but have yet to start filming. This is going to be quite the slap job. Yeah, I just got to tune in just to see how bad this is, you know. Yeah. Anyway, an unnamed insider is also quoted as saying, from the moment it was confirmed Ncuti was leaving, bosses have subtly been putting feelers out among the industry for an actor who could play the Doctor. The source adds, despite once being one of the most coveted roles in TV, it's now seen as a bit of a poisoned chalice. And further claims anyone taking on the job will want to know if they're playing it for a one-off festive special or beyond, as they'll want to plan their workload over coming years. Well, considering the massive brand damage done to Doctor Who, oh, you can bet this is a one-and-done deal. Yeah? It's kind of like Paul McGann in the 96 movie, only way worse. I mean, you might get some Big Finish stuff. You want to do that? You could do that. But that's about it, you know? So, as far as scheduling your other jobs, roles and stuff, don't worry. Your schedule will be pretty clear, I would think. So, you know, a month or whatever working on the show, or maybe even a couple of weeks, they're going to ram this through. Good Lord. Boy, this is going to end up like, what was that, the Dimensions in Space charity show they did? That's kind of what it is. It'll just be, maybe they'll bring in whatever surviving doctors they got to briefly appear as he keeps changing back and forth into other incarnations. That guy, as he just walks down the street and meets, you know, soap opera stars or something. Anyway, it also states that some viewers became dissatisfied with recent woke storylines. I mean, to say they're woke is to put it mildly. Yeah? Anyway, as ever with tabloid reports on Doctor Who, this is one to take with a pinch of salt until anything is confirmed by the BBC. Piper herself previously described her appearance as a last-minute arrangement. Yeah, that's right. Further fueling the view that there was no serious intention for her to assume the role on a permanent basis. Given her busy schedule across television and theater, a long-term commitment would likely present significant logistical challenges. Davies said he had no idea in an interview months after, not exactly clearing up matters. A BBC spokeswoman told the paper, "We never comment on speculation until there is official word. The identity of the 16th Doctor remains firmly under wraps." Well, based on the narrative of the show, it's Billy. So if she's not going to show up, that means she's already regenerated into someone else. And that'll be your 17th Doctor, or the 3rd, if you go by the obvious plot hole problems that they created here with Ncuti's Doctor. I mean, all that ballyhoo and everything about Shooty Gatwa coming in, and you didn't really let him play the character. See, this is the Doctor right here, and he's living with this woman and her family with the actual TARDIS, I guess, sitting out in the backyard. He probably sleeps in it, but usually he's probably on her couch watching the telly, or browsing, maybe something. He's retired. So Dr. Junior, that's the name of the series, I should think. And so the question is, who will be the third Doctor this time around? Yeah. I mean, the obvious thing would have Billy do the special and then retcon this whole crap about Timeless Child and all that and the bi-generation nonsense. And you could feed it into the moment, I suppose, from the special, the Time War and all that. And then you have David Tennant there as well, because it's a reunion of them. It's kind of, sort of, maybe not really. And then there's a regeneration and a brand new Doctor, or you'll probably just have to fade to black, because you can't cast a new Doctor. Because you can get some guy to just lay on the ground and wake up, and he's in. I'm assuming this time he'd be in Tennant's costume like they used to. Somehow his suit magically changed from Jodie's. How the hell did that happen? Was it a symbiote all along? I guess the toy maker did it. Whatever, but that would be your chance. If you did that, at least possibly, the word of mouth would say, oh, they finally admitted they were wrong and wiped all that nonsense out, so you got a clean slate sometime down the road if someone wanted to pursue this. It'd be your best bet. But, gee, will it work? I mean, look, templates of shows, you can shuffle those around enough to where it seems like you're not watching the same show over and over again. But you got to be clever at it. So something like Doctor Who, certainly Doctor Who with the regeneration and all that, you could do that. But when you weight it down with lazy crap in and out and then scream at everybody and call them bigots if they don't like it, that's not a good business model. That doesn't really work. So that's more of the problem than, hey, the shows just ran too long, Well, yeah, you could say that about a number of things, and you could say it about shows of a similar genre. But they did that in the other show, that kind of thing. But it's the matter of the angle and whatnot. And if you're out of the ideas, then it's somebody else to take a shot. That's what you do. But ultimately, the damage is so bad. So bad. It's not just a show that ran out of steam and people lost interest. That ain't it. This was a deliberate choice, Well, anyway, there you go. Hey, what's the hope for Doctor Who? Not good at all. So, but morbid curiosity. Yeah, I might tune in this Christmas to see what the hell this is going to be. And they haven't even started yet. I mean, it's March. Well, gee, someone needs to be held accountable for that. Who put these people in this position? Oh, they put themselves in this position. Yeah. Well, I'd say good luck with that, but no chance of that, is there? I don't think so.
And now commentary from our very own Trixie Turner. Trixie?
Doug panties can ride up, but thongs don't because they're already up there.